Hey guys, this is Comic Uno, and today I'm doing Comic Uno's Best Comics of the Week. And this is the show where I review all the comics I've read this week in one show. We go least favorite to best pick of the week and everything in between. And before I get started, we do talk about the viewer's pick of the week at the end of the video. So in the comments below, let me know your pick of the week for a chance to be featured. Also be sure to like the video, it really does help the channel. Now let's jump in. I actually had a pretty heavy haul. Honestly, I feel like the last couple of weeks I've had a pretty heavy haul. And this week it's 15 books. And number 15 is our favorite last pick, and it's The Amazing Spider-Man issue 5. Honestly, it's just the same thing that I've been having problems with The Amazing Spider-Man. We're still on the drug trip. This whole issue is Peter kind of still on the drug trip, Hobgoblin's kind of joined in the party, and finally the arc is over. So it wraps up in a tiny bow. Peter and Aunt May have a moment, and that's kind of it that happens. I'm happy for this arc to be over. I want to see where it's going next with Black Cat, but I just didn't think this was a great first arc for a run that I didn't love from the last volume, so that's why it's kind of hard feelings, and the art is good. That's also what makes it a little difficult too. I actually did like the art for this one. I just didn't love the story. So giving that 2 stars, and that is number 15. Moving on to number 14. Another Spider book, and that is Spider-Gwen, the Ghost Spider, issue 14. And this one just feels more like a hiccup of the issue than, you know, an overall comment on the series. I feel like the Jean Grey and Gwen issue had a better co-partnership than Loki. I felt like Loki took over the story a bit, and I didn't get enough Gwen, even though this is her series. I still do think the artwork is really dark for the series, and it just didn't really mesh well for me. So giving that one 2 stars, and that is number 14. Moving on to number 13, one of the bigger books that came out this week, and that is The World to Come, issue 1. This is personal preference for me. I'm not a big Black Panther reader. I like the movies, but I haven't really gotten into the character from the comics, and this feels very much for the people who like Christopher Priest's Black Panther. But also what I was expecting from this series was more of a lot of characters showing up, but it really is a Black Panther Marvel Knights book, and I wish it was promoted that way, because I don't know if I would have originally picked it up if knowing it was continuing from a run that I didn't really read. Let me know in the comments below if you read Black Panther, if this was a better issue for you, but for me, I won't say I felt lost, but I didn't feel like I had a hook compared to people that had read those previous issues. So giving that 2.5 stars, and that is number 13. Moving on to number 12, which is DC Pride 2025. Love these Pride books. I really do love seeing Marvel and DC do it every year, not just making it that one time that happened 5 years ago. And this issue, I think, did a good job at exploring different sexualities. I think that's very important to put an anthology together. I love seeing the showcase of queerness in the DC universe, but I'm also curious to see, are we going to continue these stories? Other than like Harley and The Question, a lot of these characters we just don't really see on a normal basis, and that's kind of the sadder part of the anthology. Is like, oh, we only have once a year where we get to see these characters. And there's a new character introduced here too, a gender fluid character, where I'm like, well, where are we going to see them again? Are they just showing up in the anthology? Is there plans for them to show up in the future? And I just hope that means in the main run, we'll get to see more queer stories. Now, the reason this is a little lower for me, honestly, is just personal preference. There's just a lot of characters I don't really follow in this anthology. So I was like, oh yeah, they're fun stories, but I didn't feel a hook to them. And I just wish there was, like, you know, Tim Drake, you know, some of the more bigger characters in this volume. So giving that 3 stars, and that is number 12, I believe. Moving on to number 11, which is Power Rangers Prime issue 7. I'm just kind of getting used to these characters. That's mostly the kind of the review here, is that there's a lot thrown at you. You're learning more about the characters, and I'm not completely hooked yet because, you know, Mighty Morphin had the series. It had the show where you felt connected for hundreds of episodes there. Here, these are very new characters, also exploring a new side of the mythology, so it's a little bit of a slower burn for me in that regard. I'm still having a fun time with it. So giving that 3 stars, and that is number 11. Moving on to the next big Marvel book that came out this week, and that is number 10, Imperial issue 1. This is a tough one to review too, because I think this is for a specific Marvel fan. That is not me. I don't like Cosmic Marvel. It is not the side of the universe I tend to go for, but if you love Cosmic Marvel, you love Nova, you like World War Hulk, you like the Guardians of the Galaxy, you're gonna love this. I think it's a really well done event for that side of Marvel, but as someone who doesn't love that side of Marvel, it wasn't for me. But I like the art. I think the thing that maybe would get me to read issue 2 is the promise of more Hulk. That's the part I enjoy the most and I connected to the most because that's a franchise I really like, but the other stuff just kind of felt like it's playing in its own world, which is completely okay, but not for me. So giving that 3 stars, we'll see if I pick up the next issue. All right, moving on to number 9, which is Batgirl issue 8. I also have hard feelings for this one because I love Cassandra Cain. I've been enjoying this series well enough. It's usually like in the middle of my pack as you see this week. And anytime Cassandra shows up and any connection to Cassandra, I think it's a solid series. But having a whole arc about Lady Shiva, talking about her life, talking about her sister, the thing that was interesting, at least talking about David Cain, I want to see Cassandra. I hate that she's this kind of passerby in these last 2 issues, and I just want to see her arc. And honestly, I thought the weaker part of that first arc was Lady Shiva. I just want, again, I'm here for Batgirl, and I think that's the part where I think it needs to focus a little bit more. The artwork is solid enough. It's an okay story. Just curious to see where this is going to go after this arc. So giving that 3 stars, and that is number 9, I believe. Yes. And now we're moving on to number 8, which is the Slashers Apprentice issue 2. If you're a fan of slashers, I think you're gonna enjoy this. I'm a big fan of horror, I'm a big fan of slashers, and I like putting that genre on its head, and I feel like since, you know, the days of Scream, everyone's been trying to put that genre on its head, and it's hard to tell an original story, but I think this one does that. It tells the final girl story in a really different way, and this person being very obsessed with the serial killer that kind of ruined their lives. And what I liked about this issue is that you don't really know where they're gonna play out, and I enjoy that aspect. But also that's, you know, the slower burn of this issue as well, is that I think there's a lot of promise of where it's gonna go, but it is that build-up moment to be like, okay, let's see what's the twist, what's gonna happen here with these characters. So giving that 3.5 stars, and that is number 8. Moving on to number 7, which is all new Venom, issue 7. This is a really interesting series because I think if you turn your brain off, it's actually kind of fun. Dylan and Paul are being rowdy with each other like 10-year-old children. We got Flash and MJ reconnecting. You got Rick Jones in here as well. It feels very soap opera-ish in a fun way, but then if you really think about it any seriously than that, it's kind of hosh-posh. It's a weirdly paced book. I don't really understand the tone, but for some reason I'm having a fun time with it, and that's why it's kind of in the middle of the pack here. Had a good time, good art. I really, really like seeing Flash and MJ together and just chatting it up, but it's not exactly the version of this book I thought it was going to be. I do want a little bit more emotion here as well. So giving that 3.5 stars, and that is number 7. Moving on to number 6, which is our topic of the video. Ultimate Spider-Man Incursion, was it worth the hype? Yes and no. It reminds me a lot of Spider-Man. It really is more about the team-up aspect of Ultimate Spider-Man and Miles Morales. And Miles kind of reconnecting to his roots of the Ultimate Universe and knowing he's from another universe, all while trying to save his baby sister. So I like those elements, but as a whole, as a full universe event, there's nothing that crazy that happens besides he goes to the Ultimate Universe. There's characters that show up because it is crossover, so we get more than just Ultimate Spider-Man. We get like some characters from Ultimate Wolverine, a lot of characters from the Ultimates, so that's fun, but is it like, wow, I can't believe this issue, that happened? Not really. It really does just feel like a team-up book for now. Another aspect that put this a little lower is the art. I thought the art was way too gritty. I really wanted a different art style for this one to make it feel big and feel like a huge event, and that wasn't quite here. I just thought it just wasn't there for me. So giving this 3.5. Was it worth the hype? No, I don't think it is a hype worth book. Does that mean I won't get the second issue and it's a bad book? No, I think it's just a fine book, and I'm curious to see where it's going to end up going. So giving that one 3.5 stars, and then it's number 6. Moving on to number 5, which is Absolute Superman issue 8. I like this book. I like that it's started a new arc because we had a lot of origin story Superman, and now we're starting to get the pieces back. Ra's al Ghul kills a baby, which was kind of crazy. We get to see Lois and Jimmy and Superman connect, all while Lois is like, what the hell am I doing? Am I gonna be part of this government agency that I'm a part of, or am I helping Superman? This is so weird. I do think there's a lot of moving parts in this issue where you have to kind of slow down in it and read all the different parts, but I liked it enough to kind of get back into the action. So giving that one 3.5 stars, and that is number 5. Moving on to number 4, which is Jumpscare issue 4. Speaking of horror, I just love this book as a slasher fan, as a horror movie fan. There's a lot of cool fake references. I don't think these movies actually exist, but it's like, oh cool, that weapon's from that fake movie. So I like that, and I just enjoyed the family aspect too of her, you know, wanting, I think, her family to like her subconsciously, but also knowing that her family is not great. And in the end of the issue, they really show that they're not great by working with the enemy. So I thought this was a fun action issue, all while you're kind of building up to those bigger moments with the family. So giving that one 4 stars, and that is number 4. Moving on to number 3, which is Radiant Black issue 34. Another fun issue. I really feel like this book has found its way again with the reboot or relaunch, and we're getting to see that great balance between superhero life and civilian life and how that all mixes together. And this issue does a good job with that, with the action, telling story with action, which I always felt like Radiant Black has been great at. We get to see Radiant Pink team up with Radiant Black in a really fun way where it's like balancing the civvies with the superhero. We get to see this villain kind of maybe seep into our main Marshall's life. So I liked it. I thought it was a really solid issue of the things I like in the superhero genre, and to really make this feel like it's standing apart from other modern superhero books, but also feels really nostalgic to old comic books. So I'm really liking the balance here. So giving that 4 stars, and that is number 3. Moving on to number 2, which is Absolute Green Lantern issue 3, quickly becoming my favorite Absolute title. I really love the world it's building, and here we get to learn a little bit about that mythos of maybe Gold breaking Abinsur's powers, and Abinsur not liking that John Stewart figured that out, maybe killing him. You know, now there's 2 big Green Lanterns that died, so I'm guessing they're not dead. I think they're probably like transported somewhere. All while you get a lot from Joe and Hal emotionally while they're dealing with being trapped here, and Hal kind of going the darker route and Joe going the more heroic route. So I liked it. I thought it was a really solid issue with really interesting anime style art. It's just such a great book. So giving that one 4 stars, and that is number 2. Moving on to number 1, which is Birds of Prey, issue 22. It's just a fun superhero book, and I really feel like Kelly Thompson has found her voice for this series, where we get to see Dinah and Babs on different sides arguing, which is honestly a rarity because Barda is missing. And then we get to see this version of Barda fighting the Birds of Prey, all while you have this cliffhanger ending of Batgirl dying, maybe, who knows, of Barbara at least being in this explosion. Obviously, she probably didn't die, but how does she get out of it? And how does Dinah feel about this? I just thought there was a lot of good emotional build up to the action and the overall mystery with Barda. I just thought it was a very well balanced issue with some really solid artwork as well. So giving that one 4 stars, that is my pick of the week. Let me know in the comments below what your pick of the week was, because the viewer's pick of the week from last week was Ultimate Spider-Man, and here are some comments about that. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. This is Comic Uno, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.